Hey guys, so today I'm going to talk about one of the best tips I have for garage selling. So let's get into that. Right here on the table, you guys are going to see my garage sale video game haul from Friday. And unfortunately, I did not catch any of this on camera at all. So if you're going to say, oh, if it's not on camera, it doesn't count, or I don't believe you, well, kick rocks. So Friday, I went garage selling, and it was absolutely incredible. So let's talk about it and show you the highlights of the video game stuff and the number one thing you should do if you're going garage selling. So we have, this is a purchase, this is a purchase, here, separate. This goes with the Xbox games, this all goes together, and then this goes together. All right, so my number one tip, if you're going garage selling, you gotta ask for what you're looking for. If you're a video game person, you ask for video games. Card person, ask for cards. Clothing, typically they have clothing, but they might have more clothing. So like if you want vintage rock t-shirts or something like that, you gotta ask, because I'll show you all. So this is what my haul would look like if I did not ask for video games. Somehow, this was sitting out on a table at noon for $20. It has NFL Street Volume 3 in it, which is a good game. They wanted $20, but I gave them 10. So, you know, you gotta negotiate. But this I'm probably gonna keep for my collection, just because it was such a cool find. This was sitting out on a table. They wanted 20. That's about what it's worth, but I offered them 10 and they were good with that. And then this, I'm not really sure what they wanted. They said it had a sticker for 5, but I didn't see it. And then I asked them how much they wanted, and they said 2, so I gave them 2. I'm not really sure what this is worth. It's probably worth like 20 bucks. And then we got the PS2 haul. This was just sitting out on a table at, I think, about 9:30 for $35. I asked if they had video games, and technically, this is slightly different. I asked if they had video games, and they said yes, there's a PS2 over there. I missed it, but it was actually out, so I'm not going to include that. I am including this in the I didn't ask for video game category because I just overlooked it. There's some decent games in here, nothing too crazy. TMNT is probably good. NBA Jam's pretty good. Unfortunately, I thought this was the good one, but I think it's 11. That's good for PS2. Power Rangers might be decent. Ghostbusters might be decent. And then obviously a PS2. I actually didn't open it. I'm curious if there's any games. Yeah, no games. It did come with 2 controllers, one off-brand. And then, so funny story on this. So we got all these Xbox 360 games, 1 PS3 game, and then 2 PS4 games. So this was on an ask, and it's really funny because I drove by this garage sale, and it was all girl stuff, all pink, and I was like, I'm kind of tired. I'm done for the day. I'm done garage selling. I'm not going to do it. I go to the next garage sale, and the next garage sale is where I found the PSP. So I was like super excited. I was like, I'm so glad I went to that garage sale. So then I left the neighborhood, and I followed some signs to another garage sale. And it actually took me back to this garage sale with all the pink stuff. I looked around, no games. And there was a Cabbage Patch Girl there for like $3. It was like an Olympic one. It's from the 90s. I said, yeah, why not? Let's go ahead and grab it. So I grabbed that. I was walking back to my car, and I just happened to just kind of turn. I was like, do you guys have any video games? And she's like, oh, we got a whole bunch of them. So I was like, okay. So I turned back around, walked back to the house, and our son brings out all these Xbox 360 games. They are all disgusting, and almost all the discs look absolutely terrible. They're all scratched. They're all going to need resurfacing. Thankfully, we have a resurfacer. So I paid $10 for that on an ask. I don't know what all games are actually there, what games are actually missing. But 10 bucks, can't go wrong. We got a couple of good ones like Minecraft, SmackDown, Forza Horizon, you know, stuff like that. Show you all. That looks like. And then he brought out 2 PS4 games, Uncharted and Spider-Man. He went I think he wanted 15 and I went ahead and did that. Unfortunately, this is the Peggy version, but it seemed like a good enough deal. And then we have this find. So they are also disgusting. You can see just the filth on that. Unfortunately, the Game Boy Advance box, the DS box, and the GameCube boxes all are missing the game. The manuals are in there, but no game. And then these 3 are complete. We ended up paying, I think, $13 for all of them. It said $10 for the GameCube boxes, GBA box, and the DS box. He was like, yeah, sounds good. And then I offered him $1 for each of the games that are actually there. So super cool. Nothing crazy value, but you don't see Game Boy Advance games very often. So this is another one that was really cool. So it is a NES Classic. I think I can sell those for around $120 on Amazon. I'll have to add a power cord, but I think it's all there. It might need another controller, but I think I have some extras, so should be good on that. So I got that for $15. I bought some stuff from a garage sale, and I asked, do you guys have any video games? She's like, my husband might. He'll be back here in a little bit, and so I got her number, texted her. I was like, hey, let me know. Definitely interested. And then like 2 hours later, she messaged me. She's like, hey, do you want this for 15? I said, yep. So drove over there, picked that up. So a pretty good cheap find, pretty happy with that. And then here's the big one. So this find is crazy. I'll show you all the find. We got these PS2 games, a bunch of PlayStation 1 games. Got this really cool tray and a Wii. So this find was super cool. Ended up at a garage sale. This guy had some like zombie board games and big zombie person, so I was like, yeah, let's get that. It seems cool. I paid $30 a piece, I think, or maybe they were $60 and I paid $30. I don't remember, but I asked him. I could tell he's kind of a nerdier guy, and I asked him, hey, do you have any video games? And he kind of looks at his wife, looks back at me, and he's like, well, I have some PlayStation games, but I kind of fell back in love with them during COVID. I don't know if I want to sell them. I was like, well, you let me see them, I can make an offer. And he looked at his wife and he's like, is it cool if me and this guy go in? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So we go in. He pulls out this drawer. And I was like, well, this is cool. I've never seen this before. He opens it up and I see Monster Rancher and I think Medieval 2, one of them right here. Those are both good games. Those are both games that I personally have in my collection. I think I have to double check because I sold my collection. Check out that video if you haven't before. I'm just seeing like good titles, and he's kind of like going through them. It's like good title, good title, good title, good title. And I was like, okay, we've got to work something out with this guy. So he had 42 games he wanted to sell. He ended up keeping probably 10 to 15 PS1 games. But the funny thing is most of the games he kept were like some of the low dollar stuff, like Frogger. He kept that. Namco Museum, Activision Classics, like all of those like compilation PS1 games. That's what he wanted to keep. So I was like, sounds good to me. He was like, okay, so here's the games we want. He's like, how about $400? It was about 42 games he wanted to sell. And I was like, I know there's good titles, but I haven't looked up really any of these. I know like Medieval 2, those are like some good titles that were in there, but I was like, 400 is a little steep. So I was like, how about, I was doing some thinking, and he had brought out a Wii. Forgot to mention that. He had a Wii, brought that out. I was like, how about 300 and you throw in the Wii? Because I know what I can sell that for. So that'll help bring down the average cost of the games. He's like, 350 and I'll throw in the Wii. And I said, yep, that sounds great. I knew there's some really good titles. I'll go over those in a minute, I promise. There are amazing titles in here. And then I was like, so what about those PS2 games? Because he had a drawer of PS2 games. And so he pulled them all out and he's kind of stacking them. The crappy ones, those are the ones he's going to want to sell to me. And then the good ones, he's going to keep those. Well, it's actually the exact opposite. So I will say the PS2 games are not as crazy as the PS1 games, but they're pretty good. So I'll show those to you real quick. So we got Rhaegar, Def Jam Vendetta, Bombastic, Gauntlet's good, X-Men Legends, Guilty Gear, Nano Breaker, I'll talk about that in a second. Avatar, Bards, the Mortal Kombat Deception, it's like a double pack. Devil King, and then Nano Breaker is sealed, which is super cool. I think it's like maybe $45. We agreed on $50 for all the PS2 games. I felt pretty comfortable with that, knowing that the Nano Breaker goes for about that. And that was the number he threw out, so we agreed on $400 for everything. So let's take a look at these PS1 games, because they're in kind of a weird order now because I was trying to stack this somewhat nice, but generally... Oh, actually, he didn't keep Frogger. I guess I kept that. Generally speaking, this is going to be the $10 to $25 stack on price charting. So we got Gauntlet, Darkstone, Rampage, Devil Dice, Duke Nukems, Crash Bandicoot, Crash Again, Crash Again, Crash, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, Iron Blood. So those are going to be about $10 to $20 a piece. And then over here we have some of the pricier games. I think all of these are like 30 to 40. So we got Spider-Man, Mortal Kombat 4, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, Nightmare Creatures, Evil Zone, never heard of that one, Duke Nukem, Land of the Babes, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Monster Rancher 1 and 2, and then just some other games. And then these are the higher dollar games. So we got Forbidden Memories. This is a great game. Had this as a kid, and it does have the cards. We got Medieval, Vampire Hunter D. I know people will look for that game. I think, is that the one that's kind of broken? You'll have to let me know in the comments if that's the one that's broken. I'm not for sure. I think it is, but maybe it's D that's kind of broken. Pocket Fighter, Medieval, Crash Bandicoot, Street Fighter Collection. So these are all going to be like 50 to 60. And then here are the two big ones. So Diablo, I did not know that this was on PS1. I thought it was just a PC game. And then we have Rival Schools. Show you all that. So there's the Diablo, nice and complete. And then we have Rival Schools. I think it's complete. Yep, it does have the manual. And it's a 2-disc game. So yeah, if you guys are going to garage sales, my number one tip is always you gotta ask. The only reason I hate saying this in videos is because the more people that ask, now I'm gonna get less yeses. But garage sales were absolutely amazing on Friday. And then you all might be wondering what the value is. So I think roughly price charting is gonna be about $2,000, and I spent $500. $507, I think is what I spent for all of this. Oh, actually I did not add up the PS2 games and that. I'm gonna guess roughly $2,000. Rough value of the PS1 games is about $1,200, and I paid him roughly $300 because I would have paid him $40 to $50 on the Wii, typically $40. And then we got the case, we got the PS1, the PS2 games. So overall, garage sales were absolutely crazy. Again, you gotta ask for whatever you're looking for. That's pretty much gonna do it. I'm out, gangstas.